Minecraft Pre-Classic, a time before time, some might say. A period of Minecraft development that it was so old and was so brief that I can confidently say most of you watching, myself included, were not playing at the time. What was later dubbed Minecraft Pre-Classic was a period of development that lasted from May 10th to May 16th, 2009, with all of the versions either being unreleased or privately released. Even today, most are only playable due to being recompiled, as a lot of the original versions have been lost to time. These were all extremely bare-bones prototype versions of Minecraft, but they lay the foundation that the game still relies on today. The beginning of this period was when Notch began working on Cave Game, a game influenced by the likes of Infiniminer, Dungeon Keeper, and Dwarf Fortress, as well as some of his previous games such as Ruby Dung, Legend of the Chambered, and Zombie Town, all of which he pulled textures directly from. Early Minecraft versions even carried an RD before the version number, standing for Ruby Dung. Much of what is known about the earliest pre-classic versions we can get from old re-uploads from Notch's YouTube channel, as well as forum posts from the at the time tiny player base. The story for Notch began a few days earlier at the time he began development, but for the rest of us, our story begins on May 13th, 2009 at 1736 UTC, when Notch uploads his video, Cave Game Tech Tests. This depicts the version RD131655, also known simply by the video's name. This version pulled the grass and stone textures from Ruby Dung and lacked a player model. The entire world was a 256 by 256 platform that was 64 blocks thick. The caves would generate down until roughly 3 to 4 blocks before the last layer of cobblestone, and there were only 2 light levels, bright and dark. Falling out of the world would not kill you, so you'd have to press R to respawn to avoid falling infinitely. It was rough, but it had potential. Around 2.5 hours after the video's release, at 2011 UTC, the second version is created. The game was still being referred to as Cave Game, but this version was RD132-11, and it is still available in the launcher today. It was initially unreleased, but was later recompiled and placed in the launcher under the name of Old Alpha RD132-11. While the world was similarly made up of grass and stone, you could now right-click to destroy blocks and left-click to place them, although you were only able to place stone at the time. You also could not place blocks past the 256 by 256 border, and you could now save levels by pressing enter. Only slightly under an hour and a half later, at 2128 UTC, RD132-328 is made. This includes a major addition, that being the first mob. You'd think the first mob would be a zombie, a pig, or maybe even a sheep or something. Well, kind of. They were referred to as zombies in the code, but it definitely didn't resemble one. The mob texture was one that would later become very famous, the iconic Steve texture. This texture was directly taken from Notch's other game, Zombie Town, but would later become known worldwide as the protagonist of Minecraft. That's for later though, and for now, Steve, simply known as Zombie, would wander about aimlessly, flailing his limbs around and hopping up and down. In the next version, RD 2009-0515, made on May 15, 2009, at around 2225 UTC, Notch decided that Cave Game was a kind of unprofessional name, and so he wanted to change it around. He settled on Minecraft Order of the Stone. This version had quite a few additions that are seen as essentials and staples of the game today. First of all, this was the first version in which the world was not completely flat. You could now use keys 1 to 4 to select different blocks to place. Pressing 1 would equip stone, which was now distinct from cobblestone. 2 would equip dirt, 3 would equip cobblestone, and 4 would equip planks, a new wood-like block. You could also now press G to spawn the mobs from the previous version, now called humans. Whilst 100 would spawn in the previous version, only 10 would in this version, and you would spawn the rest. This also saw the addition of a few general improvements such as full screen mode and a few texture improvements. This version was never released, and although there is a version of the same name in the Minecraft launcher, attempting to play it will install and launch RD161348 instead. Only 30 minutes after this version's creation, at 2252 UTC, an update was made by the name of RD160052. Notch decided his name from the last version was too long and shortened it to simply Minecraft. The recompiled copy of this version is available in the launcher, but the original was never released. It saw very few actual additions and was more focused on bug fixes on different operating systems. The only thing actually added were the block particles that appear when blocks are broken. The next day, May 16, 2009 at 11:48 UTC, a new version is once again made. The only existing copy is again a recompiled one available in the Minecraft launcher, and in this version saplings were added, but they were binded to the 6 key. Why wasn't it binded to the 5 key where it belonged? Well, it was because Notch was kind of embarrassed by the texture and did this in an effort to hide it. No hate, but I can honestly see why. There was also a slight change to the texture of the wood planks, and otherwise there were only slight terrain generation modifications as well as general bug fixes. This was the last version to use the RD prefix, leading us to MC161607. This version was released the same day at 1607 UTC, and it was released but kinda only released to select people for private testing. Notch would refer to the game as Minecraft Alpha for the rest of the pre-classic era, although this name would later be taken by the actual alpha versions and this era would be renamed pre-classic. There wasn't anything added to this version, and honestly all the versions past this point. It was just the first one released for private testing. It actually currently is a missing version, as are all other versions from this point forward. The next version, MC161616, was released less than 10 minutes later and simply included the option to press Y and invert the mouse. This was a specific request made by one of the playtesters, and although there were quite a few reported bugs with the mouse code in this version, most of these bugs were fixed once again less than 10 minutes later at 1625 with the release of MC161625. Although there were still some bugs, it was now mostly playable. The last version of pre-classic Minecraft would be MC161648. In this version, all known bugs would be fixed and Notch would prepare for the release of Minecraft Classic. Hey guys, it's Exotic here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again. I have been really inactive for the past couple months and I'm sorry about it. I've been having a lot of personal stuff come up. Me and my girl actually have just had a baby, so yeah, expect more uploads coming soon. I'm trying to get back on track with things. But yeah, those of you that know how rough the first couple months are. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed and have a nice one. I'm out.